guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is basically for everybody who loves Starmore and who watches my channel, because I know a lot of people who watch my channel are really into Starmore because I've shown a lot of her pieces before, and I think I have maybe like 10 of her pieces that I've made here. That's like everything I've made by her, which is a lot. When I first started knitting, this was like some of the first color works that I started doing were her designs. So towards the end, like this is gonna get progressively worse. Specifically like the last two I'm gonna show are really embarrassing because they were my first Starmore patterns and I don't think that they look that good. But we've come a long way, we've learned a lot. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first one here is this Persian Tiles one. I think this might have been my like third or fourth Starmore pattern that I did. My friend actually bought me this kit for my birthday when I was still in high school. Actually, I think I was like in 11th grade probably, or 12th grade. No, I think probably 12th grade. But yeah, it's this Persian Tiles shawl, and then I finally got around to doing it, I think a couple months later, like a year later. But yeah, it looks like this. So it's basically designed after the mosques in Kashan, which is a city in Iran. So that's where she got the inspiration from the tiles from. And then we've got these tassels on the bottom. Unfortunately, I feel like when they're stashed in my closet, the tassels don't look that amazing. They do get crumpled up. So if you're doing the tassels, I would recommend pulling from the outside of the yarn rather than the inside, because the cake can get quite crumpled towards the middle. So I would start fresh with a new wrap and be careful of how you store them. But I actually have two of these, so this is the first one. And then I liked it so much that I made a second one. I do think my stitches on this one are a lot better, but it looks like this. This is called Pebble Beach, this grayish color, but actually it's kind of like a rainbow almost. I don't know what the name of the blue is, sorry. And same thing, but yeah, I made this one right after. I really wanted to do it again. Overall, it's so much nicer, I think. It's just cleaner than the other one. So this is the back side and this is the front side. But yeah, you can see the progress from the knitting, I would say. All right, and then I have another shawl here. This is called the Rheingold Wrap. So basically what she had you do is knit two pieces. Like you knit the first piece and then you knit the second piece, and you are supposed to graft them together here. I didn't do that. I just like continued making it into one long tube and just flipped the pattern over because I'm not really a fan of grafting. So it looks like this. I'm not really sure what the story behind this is. I didn't see one on the pattern card kit. I tried to look before making this video so I would have a refresher on what her vision was behind these pieces, but I don't know for that one what it is. Okay, next one here is the Leo scarf. This one is big. This one is really big, and also I think it's like 17 colors, and it's quite thick too because it's double, so it's just folded in half. And then all my floats are still floating in there. I did not turn this thing around to put all the stitches in, like to secure all the floats. That's not my problem. You know, you can't even see it. And then you got the tassels down here. You attach them by doubling this up, so it's just like folded in half. But yeah, they're supposed to be lions, like Leo lions. And this one was a project for sure. It was really heavy. I was traveling while I was making this, and I had like not 17, but I think I told the story before. I had around like 24 balls with me because I had to make sure that I had enough of the color so when I finish I would be able to use another color, well, another of the same color. And just like carrying this around in a tote bag, oh my gosh, it is big. Okay, next we have this blanket that I honestly forgot the name of. Oh, it's called Infinite Cables. I do remember because it took me 6 months to finish this. I wasn't working on it 6 months continuously. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stand up and show it. It's 24 squares, and they got like this heart cable here, this diamond pattern, and then these baubles. So, and then this thing that I never was able to make that nice. But yeah, it looks like this. It's not the best thing in the entire world, technique-wise, by me, my fault. But you basically knit all 24 squares flat on straight needles. And then the problem with that is, so you're not supposed to do it on circular needles, and I'll tell you why. Because when you do it on circular needles, it starts to curve and it turns out wonky. It's supposed to be on straight flat needles. I think my technique for this part got better over time, but really I was working on it and then not working on it because each square takes 8 hours. About 8 hours, and it really hurts to do because the cables are just hard on your hands. And then the border also took a very long time, but I was finally finished with it. So yeah, I was so happy when I was finally done. I do think I could have knit this neater, absolutely, but that is not my problem because it is finished, and I will, you know, this was probably the hardest project I've ever done. And then I was like, man, I will never do this again. And then right when I finished it, I was like, wait, why do I kind of want to do it again? So my mom told me I should have made it bigger, but honestly, I was so out of it by that point. I just didn't want to do any more of the squares because they hurt and they take a very long time. I was also starting to run out of yarn, so I didn't know if I was going to have enough to finish it. Okay, next is this Oregon Autumn cardigan. I've showed this before because it's my most recent of her knits. This is definitely my favorite garment I've ever made by her because it has bigger sleeves. And by the way, I have a tight gauge, like I knit quite tightly, so this one fits me perfectly. I think my technique was really good, my steeking, everything. I mean, the attachment of the shoulders, especially since this one you pick up stitches instead of having to do the sleeve separately and then sew it. I think that made it look so much better because the rest of the ones that I'm going to show you are all sewn together, and I don't think I did a good job. And then these buttons are from Korea. They're hand embroidered buttons that have flowers on them, but they all look a little bit different. I thought they matched the rainbow vibe of this. I do want to do the Oregon Spring just because I love the design of this. It's just in a blue, like it kind of actually would match this dress. It's more of in a blue colorway, and I gotta order that kit or just the yarn for it because I have a lot of her extra yarn after doing 10 projects, but she's out of stock on one of the colors that I need for that project. But if I order the kit for some reason, it's in stock, I guess. So I don't know. I'm just gonna wait for a bit until she comes out with that color. The one that she's missing is called Mara. It's a turquoisey blue, but it's the first color I would need to start the project too. So yeah, but the reason I wouldn't buy the card kit again, even though I feel like it might be the exact same price if I just like bought the extra yarn versus buying the card kit. I feel like with that, her pricing for the kits are pretty good because she gives you like, I think 20% extra than what you actually need. And even if you were to buy each skein of yarn individually, I think it would cost more than if you were just to buy the kit and then you have the pattern also, so I could just repeat that. But I still want to get rid of all the extra yarn I have laying around, just be able to use the scraps. Also, her dye lots are pretty consistent, so I'm not really worried too much about running into a different dye lot. Okay, so here is where things start to get a little bit wonky, let me tell you. This one's not bad, actually. This one I'm actually pretty proud of. This is the Peggy Vest, and it looks like this. I'm so proud of the color work here. It is clean. It is very clean. I think this is probably one of the cleanest ones that I did, and it was more of a midway through my journey project, and the ribbing is with little cables. So, and then I added these gold buttons that have an eagle. I think it's like a little military button. I used to use a lot of military looking buttons because I just like the look of them. I thought they looked pretty classy. Okay, now we're getting into suspicious territory. So this one's actually not bad. The last two are questionable, but this is one of them. that I did. It's called the Tudor, no, it's called the Jacobite rose. And so it has this rose design here, and then I think this kind of looks like a thistle, but I'm not really sure what that is. And then the sleeves have this design on it. And then you got the ribbing up here on the sleeves and then down here. So let me tell you some of my issues with these. And I just want to put this out there for anybody who's a tight knitter or who's thinking of doing her projects in general. The sleeves on a lot of her colorwork garments, the colorwork jackets, are quite tight, I would say, because she also does decreasing all the way down. And I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the pattern or if it's the size I chose. I went with the smallest size, but it's really hard to wear something underneath them, which I feel like you usually do with a jacket. That might just be me and how I knit it, but I just want to like let you guys know. That's why I do like the Oregon Autumn cardigan better. But so this one, like I said, all her other ones, I had to stitch the sleeve on separately. So you like make the cap, but because you make the cap and you knit back and forth flat, I found it was quite difficult to do, like keep the color work looking nice on the edges. So also the shoulder seam on one of these comes higher than the other one, and it's a little bit noticeable when I wear it. And then on the bottom here, this rib comes down a little bit lower than the other one. I don't know, just things that I noticed. It's not bad. I actually think it is quite neat for the time that I was knitting it. It took me a long time to finish it as well. I usually like get in these phases with her garments where I just stop knitting them after the body because it gets a little bit hard to keep up with everything. Oh, that just fell. But yeah, okay. Now I'm like at the part of the video where I'm a little bit embarrassed to show. But in my defense, these were the first projects I've ever done by her, and this was very, very early in my knitting days. I knit these like when I was kind of starting out with color work. Okay, so this one doesn't look that bad on camera. It's the Firebirds cardigan, and if you don't know, the lore behind this one is the Firebirds in Russian mythology, also in Persian mythology, are supposed to be like the phoenix, so they rise from their ashes. So that's what they're supposed to be here, but that does not look good here. It doesn't really look good on the back either. This is also the stitching where, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the construction of how I made this one and put it together. Yeah. Also, like, this doesn't look very clean. And it's very, very tight around the arms again. So that is too bad. But these are just like art pieces. I feel like I keep them in my closet. Okay, now the most embarrassing one of all. I wanted to make this for a very long time. It's called Polaris, like the stars. And I mean, I don't know what is going on here. This is so embarrassing. I mean, what was I doing? Wow, that is not good. Whoa. Oh my gosh. This is the first time I'm seeing this in a while because I just like kind of shun it and don't think about it. But anyways, besides that, it's a very cute design. I just didn't knit it that well. This was one of the first patterns I saw that got me into Starmore, and I even have these little thistle gold buttons. But yeah, also has tight arms. I will actually never wear this, unfortunately, because I can't be seen with weird green patches. I can't believe that I actually did that. It was a problem of me not really knowing how to follow the color work chart for the arms with the decreases. But you best believe that will not happen again, because now I actually know how to read the charts. That was just the first one I ever did. Okay, I did forget to mention one important thing. If you guys do want to order these patterns, just know that either you can order a pattern card kit or you can order a book, and sometimes on her website it'll show everything that's in the pattern card kit. You can't get the pattern without buying the kit. And if it's something that's not a pattern card kit, you would have to buy the book separately, and then you would buy the kit for the pattern that's in the book, if you know what I mean. So you have two choices there. I'm just trying to let everybody know because I know it's a little bit confusing when you start. It's like, oh, like, does it come with the pattern? Does it not come with the pattern? And not always. So for example, for the Persian Tiles one and the Infinite Cables, I did have to, so the Infinite Cables was a class that you purchase online on her website. And then the Persian Tiles, I actually already had the book, but you have to buy, I think it's called a collector's item. That's the book. But if you want to do like Tudor Roses or Erin Knitting, those are all separate books that she has too. So I would recommend looking into that. You can also ask me. I'm gonna leave a link to her website down below. But yeah, I hope that helps. Just wanted to add that in there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you guys learned something about the Starmore process. I hope it was educational and informative for anybody who wants to do some of her designs, or anybody who's done some of her designs. Let me know, because I want to see what your experience is. Do you guys have the weird arm situation where it's too tight on you, or is that just me? But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!